So this is the Red Wing Classic Mock in Alpine, which is like a green color. Now this customer bought these boots used, so he wants to change these things completely, including new insoles. So we're gonna get really deep into this repair. Okay, so because this customer bought these boots used, he wants to go ahead and replace the inner sole, which is this leather piece here. That's the part that your foot touches. So it has a footprint in it from the previous owner, so we're going to remove that. So the first thing that we do is we add a little bit of cement thinner along this gemming. That will help loosen that up a little bit. So this canvas piece here that you see me lifting is called a gemming, and that's what holds everything together essentially. This is actually a common fail point on Red Wings. After time, sweat, and everything will actually loosen up the glue between the gemming and the footbed. Okay, this should be loose all the way around, and your insole should pop right out. And there you go. So now that we have the insole out completely, this customer actually asked us to remove the structure of this toe box here. So in between these layers here, we're going to pull that out. There's not really a good explanation for why someone would want to remove the toe box other than just a visual appearance. Some people find that these mock toe are a little tall in that toe box, and it gives it kind of a funny look, and so we're going to see if he gets a little bit more toe drop without that hardener in there. So in order to get to the toe box, we got to get in between these layers here, which seem to be pretty well attached. So I'm going to pull back this liner first. And there you see you have this brown piece here, that's your toe box. That gives it the structure. So we're going to get that guy out. And there it is. So you have this, it's kind of a, I'm not sure exactly what type of material it is. Different companies use different materials. This is kind of more like a plastic, but it's heat molded onto the last when they make the boot. So it has a nice, good, firm structure. And so now that we have that out, now this toe won't have that firm structure. So when we get it back together, it'll have like a little bit of a lower look to it, and then over time it might have some drop to it, which is what the customer is going. So we'll get this liner put back in, the gemming put back in, and then we'll add that insole. Make sure this is nice and secure so it doesn't have any kind of slippage, which might create a hole. All that back together. We're going to reuse this gemming since it's in great shape. So I'm just going to glue that back into place. Okay, we'll let this glue sit up a little bit, and I'm going to start making the new insoles. So now to replace these insoles, as you can see, they had some pretty heavy impressions from the last owner's foot. We want to replace it with the same thickness so it doesn't take up any more or make the fit of the boot any different. So we got these, and what you want to do is, it has a curve to it. So when you put it down, you don't want to just trace it. You want to go ahead and flatten it completely out so you get the right size. Okay, so now before we put these new insoles in, I want to make a quick point about how to do it a little bit better. So the leather comes really flat, and we don't want to put it in the boot really flat, or it's going to make that feel really flat. So on the lasts, when they make the boot around, it actually has a nice curve to it. And so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of try to pre-curve this a little bit and get it to have like a nice kind of cup. It's that same cup that we pressed out of this when we were tracing it. I'm going to put it back into this new insole. We'll line up the toe. slip that heel down, get that lined up, and then we just start sticking that gemming right along that edge. This part is very important because this makes the shape of the boot, and we don't want to miss shape of the boot. And you'll see later on in this process, before I start sticking the midsole and sole and everything, I'm going to be putting a shoe tree into that, so that gives it a little bit more of a roundedness too. And so when you stick the sole on there, it'll have a nice little cut for your feet to sit in. Okay, I think that's right. And just like that, we got a new insole. People have told me that I just need to go ahead and make myself little leather finger coverings, but I did that and they always slipped off my fingers, and so I just reverted right back to using this tape. It's good enough for me. You know, when I put on welts, I like to start a little bit off the end. That way when I come around and finish, my stitch actually doesn't finish at the same spot that the welt starts and finishes. I don't know if it really makes a difference, but it's just something I like to do. Okay, so since we don't have the last that these boots were made out of, one way to help keep that roundness in that insole like I was talking about is by using an oversized cedar shoe tree. Stick it in there and leave it in there while you're doing your cork and your soling, and that way it gives that little bit of a hump to it. So we have the sole and everything on, we're about to stitch it. Even though this is a 360 welted boot, we're actually only going to stitch it a 270 welt because we're going to sand this in nice and tight. The customer wanted a 270 look, and so we're only going to stitch it from about here to here, and then we'll fasten all of this down like a 270 welted boot. All right, here's the finished product, and I actually really think these came out pretty awesome. So just to kind of recap everything that we did, we removed that toe structure, so we get a little bit more of a toe drop, which I absolutely love on this boot. We replaced the insole to get rid of the previous owner's footprint and everything, give it a feel like a brand new boot for this guy. We got new welts on there. The Dr. Sole half sole and heel in cream came out really good, and I really love the way that it pops up against this Alpine green color of the upper. So man, that was really fun. We also trimmed in that heel nice and tight to make it look like that 270 welt. And I do think that actually was a clever idea. So I'm glad we got to do this pair. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you on the next one.